No, there's nothing you can do about it. That's the way it is, I'm afraid. And, you know, you're just going to have to accept that. And just like life in general is full of broken promises and lies. And although I haven't intended to make the broken promise with you, or indeed lie, it happens. The HS2 rail link in the UK, a broken promise. Lower taxes in the UK, a broken promise. Good weather every single day on the news, a broken promise. And just like 42% of all marriages in the UK that end in divorce, broken promises. And the fact that I said I'd never get rid of you, I'm sorry, broken promise. It's time you moved on. Welcome you legends and heli heads, you choppers and stick bangers, you beautiful subscribers and you twizzle whizzlers. Welcome to this video. Now, as you heard at the beginning there, it's time for Phoenix to move on. And I wanted to do this short video on the 700X, which is a fantastic machine. I'm going to give you an overview on the 700X and why it's time for her to move on, and for another 700 to replace her. Then I'm going to introduce you to that 700 and the reasons why that new 700 has replaced the beautiful Phoenix. And, you know, all right, I have made a promise to Phoenix and to myself that I'd never ever get rid of the 700X, purely and simply because it's my first brand new 700 helicopter and I've learned so much on her. But there are reasons why it's time for her to move on and why it's time for me to move on in the 700 size go-to helicopter. So a general chat about the Align T-Rex 700X Dominator. This machine, as you know, in the Heli Shed fleet called Phoenix. They've been out about 10 years now. I bought this as a super combo. It was my first brand new 700 size helicopter. I got it from AT Models, link in the description below. I think it was about £1,300, something like that. I'll put on the screen now what you can get one of these for. Just pausing the video there, legends, won't be long. I went along to AT Models to see what the current price was, and they were out of stock. So I went along to Midland Helicopters, and guess what? They too are out of stock. I went and paid the wonderful Alessio a visit at the heli shop, and he's not even listing the 700X. Now, at all three locations, you can buy a 550X, a 650X. You can even buy the 700XN, which is the Nitro. Hell, you can even buy a brand new 800E, and that's going back some. But you can't buy a 700X, it seems. Now, it's likely it's because it's at the end of life, end of line. And ultimately, Align want to promote the TB70 series as the new Align 700. So there you go. You can't buy a 700X, it seems. If in doubt, reach out to either of those organisations to check. But I think you'd be better off buying second-hand if you want one. And in my view, and I'm not going to try and start a war here on YouTube, but in my view, far better than the TB70, which is the natural sort of progression away from the 700X, the next sort of series that Align brought out. I think there's been far too many problems with the TB70s and far too many issues with them that people have suffered from. Now look, the TB70, if you get a good one, you get good electronics and you set it up right, they're fantastic machines, they genuinely are. But as I said, the 700X, you really can't go wrong with it. And for what it is that you pay, you've only got to fit a fly barless unit and a receiver and you're ready to go. This has done me well over the years, but as I said, it is time that she moved on. The only real thing that I don't like about the Align T-Rex 700X, well, the canopies are made out of paper, we all know that. You know, these are mass produced, so they're not going to be the best quality in the world. This is the Mark II canopy, I've mentioned this before, which is, you know, a bit flatter at the front here and got, you know, different colour scheme. You know, I much prefer that canopy to the original one. And the other thing is I've just grown out of the really thin boom that you get with the Align T-Rex 700X. But look, the parts are cheap. They are plentiful no matter what country you're in around the world. And for a 700 size machine that is a genuine machine and not a clone with crappy parts, you know, you would be hard pushed to get a better model than the Align T-Rex 700X. But it is time she moved on and my go-to 700 size replacing her. So what am I replacing her with? Well, recently I went to Helifest and I said this. Also at Helifest, you'll never ever get a better time where you've got those 3 players in the same place with all of their wares, second-hand helicopters, amazing discounts where you can go out and treat yourself. Even if Mrs. Heli Shed isn't with you.
I think I just peed a little.
Yes, legends, of course it had to be the Soxos Strike 7.1. Not the light, this is the full fat version. And look, when I first saw the Soxos, I just fell in love with it and the way in which it looks. And you know that by now. Of course, I bought the 600 from Alessio there. You can see that video up there, actually. When I went and paid Alessio a visit at Heli Shop. This is the big sister. And I've had a couple of flights on her already. I'll try and link a flight at the end of this video, or certainly a separate video that I'll do. This is the epitome of progression and innovation. And innovation in this hobby is hard to come by. Purely and simply because, look, there's only so much you can do to improve a radio control helicopter. But Soxos, with their canopy release system, hopefully I'll be able to show you this, by lifting up the back and pushing it forward. They have a canopy release system here, which hopefully you can see, where this lever here, you lift this lever up and that allows you to remove the canopy. And the boom, of course, the triangular boom, which is much thicker than Phoenix had. And the drive system here and the way in which the motor with the pinion mounts with each other. The whole thing, to the uninitiated, might just look like another helicopter. But for those of you who know what I'm talking about, and that's, let's face it, the majority of you, this comparison to the 700X, there is no comparison. The way in which the tail servo via the torque rod here to the slider at the back there for the tail, this direct drive system, and it's a really wonderful machine. Now, for those of you who've got eyes like an eagle will know that just by looking at this, that I have obviously transferred the inner workings of Phoenix, her guts and stuff, directly into this. The HV servos there, the motor, the ESC, the fly barless unit and the receiver. All of this here is essentially Phoenix. I've taken the electronics out of Phoenix and transferred it into the new 700 Soxos. I've put a buffer pack here, again, just like was explained to us by Alessio. I fitted the buffer pack and I've had 4 flights on her already, and I've got to tell you, wow. Chalk and cheese to Phoenix. In fact, you can't compare them. They are both fantastic machines in their own right. But, if you ask me what would I rather have, a Mark 1 Escort or my own car, I'm going to say my Audi RS6. If you said to me, what would you rather have, a Soxos 7.1 or a 700X? Well, I'm going to choose the Soxos 7.1, no question. That is the new helicopter of the Heli Shed fleet, and her name is Angel. That's right, this is Angel. I'm immensely happy with her. I can't tell you how different she flies to the 700X. So there you go, legends. That's Phoenix's replacement. Will you stop? Just stop. You'll get a new owner. Simple as that. Jeez. So there you go, legends. Will you just stop trying to sabotage this video? So there you go, legends. That's the replacement for Phoenix at the Heli Shed in the Heli Shed Fleet Stroke Squadron. The Soxos 7.1 full fat radio controlled helicopter. And there's a space there for her where I'll move those mounts about so that I can mount her in place of where Phoenix was. And I can see her just in my bottom left hand corner. No, end of story. That's it, you're out. I've enjoyed our time together, but you know what? Move on. Fuck's sake. In fact, I've had 5 flights on her now and enjoyed every single bit of it. Stop it. You're not getting around me like that. It's not happening. Sorry I didn't do a recording of me building Angel, but you saw a recording of me. No. yeah, I didn't do a build video of Angel purely and simply because it is exactly the same as building the Soxos Strike 6.1. The only difference being the larger piece at the back there that mounts the canopy. Otherwise, it's exactly the same, so there was no point in me bringing that. I think the important thing is I'll bring you some content of her flying, and I'll try and do it at the end of this video. If not, well, you'll see her fly doing all sorts. We've got the 4-100 challenge. I mean, how's she going to do on that? Well, that's it. End of story. Time for me to go now and pack Phoenix up in a box because she's going to somewhere to be sold. If you want Phoenix, you can get her at a very reasonable price, and she'll be on sale at Heli Shop. That's right, at the Heli Shop. Link in the description below. Until the next video, I wish you all well. Let's hope the summer comes and stays and get some flying time in. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.